You know that handful of onion skins, carrot tops, and cabbage cores you almost tossed into the bin? They're not trash. They're the start of a kitchen revolution that can shrink your grocery bill and fight climate change from your countertop. Today, you're going to learn how to cook nothing short of a rescue mission, transforming vegetable scraps into a rich, savory flavor paste that replaces store-bought bouillon, slashes food waste, and makes every meal taste like you've been simmering stock all day. All you need are clean peels, a little salt, a jar, and a few days of patience while invisible helpers do the hard work. This isn't magic, it's lacto fermentation, one of the oldest and safest food preservation tricks known to humanity. At its heart, you're creating a happy home for lactic acid bacteria, the same friendly microbes that turn milk into yogurt and cabbage into sauerkraut. These bacteria thrive in a salty, oxygen-free environment, and they repay you by producing tangy, umami-rich compounds that make your scrap paste taste deep and complex. At the same time, they lower the pH enough to keep harmful microbes out. It's a microscopic security system that's been protecting food for thousands of years, long before refrigerators existed. And here's the beautiful part. The raw materials are exactly the bits you'd normally throw away. Carrot peels, broccoli stalks, leek greens, celery leaves, mushroom stems, herb stems, even the tough outer layers of onions and garlic. Gather them in a container in your fridge over a few days. Just avoid anything moldy, slimy, or soiled. When you've got a generous handful, say about 3 or fewer cups loosely packed, it's time to act. Rinse everything well, then chop it into small, uniform pieces, no bigger than a thumbnail. Uniformity means even fermentation, so take an extra minute with that knife. Now weigh your scraps. The scale is non-negotiable here because the single most critical number in this whole process is salt percentage. Set a clean bowl on your scale, zero it out, and pile in the prepped bits. Write down the weight in grams. The golden rule is 2% salt by weight. It's the sweet spot where lactobacilli feel invincible and most spoilage organisms top out. 2 grams of salt for every 100 grams of scraps. If your bowl reads 500 grams, you need 10 grams of salt. Sprinkle the salt over the scraps, then get your hands in there and massage firmly for about 5 minutes. You're doing 2 things. Bruising the plant cell walls to release their natural juices and distributing the salt evenly. Keep squeezing and kneading until the pile looks wilted and glossy and liquid begins to pool in the bottom of the bowl. That brine is your oxygen blocking shield. Pack the salty mixture tightly into a clean glass jar. A wide mouth mason jar works beautifully. Push down hard with a fist or a muddler so the solids submerge under the brine. Any bits poking above the liquid can invite mold, so add a little weight, a smaller jar filled with water and nested inside, or a clean Ziploc bag filled with extra brine. Seal the jar, but not airtight. Gases need an escape route. If you have a fermentation lead with an airlock, perfect. Otherwise, just screw the lid loosely or burp the jar daily by briefly opening it. Set the jar on a plate and leave it at room temperature out of direct sunlight. The ideal range is about 18 to 22 degrees Celsius. Over the next few days, you'll see tiny bubbles rising, the brine will turn slightly cloudy, and a pleasantly sour, almost pickle-like aroma will drift up. That's exactly what you want. After 5 to 7 days, toss a tiny piece. It should be tangy and bright. If you'd like more sourness, let it go another day or 2. When you're happy, drain the scraps, reserving a splash of brine, and transfer everything to a blender. Blitz into a smooth, thick paste, adding just enough of that saved brine to get the blades moving. The color will be a deep, earthy green or amber depending on your scraps, and the smell will be shockingly savory. Now you have a flavor bomb. A teaspoon of this paste stirred into soups, stews, rice, noodles, or even smeared on roasted vegetables behaves like a concentrated vegetable bouillon, but it's fresher, cheaper, and completely waste-free. Store the paste in a clean jar in the fridge, and it will keep for months, slowly developing even deeper character. Every time you use it, you're giving ingredients a second life, keeping organic matter out of landfills where it would otherwise rot anaerobically and release methane, a greenhouse gas over 25 times more powerful than carbon dioxide. If every household rescued just a bowl of scraps each week, the collective impact would be staggering.
Now, let's tackle a quick mental challenge while you're scrubbing those carrot peels. You've just weighed out 750 grams of mixed scraps. To get the 2% benchmark, you need 2% of 750, which is 15 grams of salt. But imagine your hand slips and you actually add 25 grams. What's your new salt percentage? Divide 25 by 750 and you get roughly 0.0333, so 3.33%. In lacto fermentation, the safety net stretches from about 2% all the way to 5%. At 3.33%, you're still well inside the safe zone, but the lactic acid bacteria will work a little slower because higher salt slightly slows their metabolism. The result will be a saltier paste with a bit less tang, but it will still be completely delicious and perfectly preserved. Push beyond 8% and the fermentation nearly halts, leaving you with something more like a salt cure than a lively ferment. At 25%, you'd basically be pickling the entire solar system. So forgive the slip, adjust next time, and know you're still winning. This interplay of weight, proportion, and microbial life is exactly why a simple jar of scraps becomes a delicious science experiment on your counter. And that knowledge is what turns a cook into a truly resourceful human. So the next time you peel an onion, don't see waste, see a future meal. The stems you were going to ditch, the leaves you ignored, the cores you plan to throw out, they are ingredients in waiting. A little salt, a little mashing, and a handful of days unlocks a paste that can transform the most basic dish into something you'd proudly serve to anyone. And along the way, you've learned to read your food not by a use by date, but by color, scent, and taste. You've plugged into an ancient rhythm that our ancestors trusted long before food labels and preservatives, and you've slashed your own kitchen's carbon footprint by closing a tiny loop. That is cooking that doesn't just feed you, it nourishes the world around you. So start collecting those scraps tonight. Give them a second chance. Weigh them, salt them, pack them, and watch life happen. You'll taste the difference, and so will the planet.